Welcome to the FPFF course, another module in the playlist in the series for prevention and firefighting, a basic safety STCW course. FPFF, this is module 3. Two of the modules have already been prepared and you can find them on my channel. So if you like, is I good if you subscribe to my channel. This FPFF course can be conducted by any training academy, any training center worldwide across any of the institutes, because this is a basic course. All seafarers have to do it before they join the ships. So this is module 3, chapter 1, detection of fire and its classification. So you must know who is your instructor. So here is a little bit about myself. You can read it. I always say the learning must be enjoyed. It must be a joyful experience. Alright. So the information must not be pressurizing but pleasant for the participant. So let's begin the voyage by understanding the fundamental that could save life. Module 3, Chapter 1, Detection of Fire. All ships are fitted with fire detectors of different types, providing coverage to the large area of the ship. Practically all parts of the ships are covered by the detectors which are fitted. Automatic fire detection system uses different types, different ways, different means, different technology to detect a fire. Yes, there are various means by which you can detect a fire. So what are those means and what are the detectors we will learn in this course, this module, this chapter. The fire detection system gives off alarm when the detector in the area detects either rising temperature of the area. If the temperature is rising, there is a reason for the temperature to rise, and most likely reason is the fire. Presence and concentration of the smoke in the area. If there is smoke, there is a fire. Yeah. Isn't it? There is a saying also, if there is smoke, there is a fire. Detect flame in the area. If a fire has occurred, naturally flames will be there. If you can detect the flame, you can detect the fire. Detects presence of gases which are the result of the fire. For example, carbon monoxide. If there's sufficient oxygen is not present, when the fire begins, there's possibility the carbon monoxide might be present. And carbon monoxide is actually toxic in the sense it doesn't sustain life. It's not poisonous, but it does not sustain life. Obviously, many types of fire detectors are installed on the ship. It can be any of the above types and measure respective parameter to give off the alarm when the value detected is above certain set value. Correct. So all these detectors will have certain values set up already. That when the temperature goes up more than so and so, then the alarm will come. For example, rise in temperature. The principle of operation of these detectors can also be based on various ways of measurement, like photoelectric. Photoelectric, as you call it, because light falls on a sensor. If that light gets obstructed because of presence, let's say, of a smoke, an alarm can be given off because the value will change on the sensor. So that is photoelectric. Detects presence of smoke. Ionization also detects presence of smoke. Ionization is a principle. When the different gas is present, ionization takes place, and that can be sensed, and an alarm can be given off. Air sampling. This is actually quite a bit of complication is involved in this kind of method. It involves sucking of the air sample and analyzing it for changes. in density, temperature, rate of rise of temperature and pressure changes. So it's a very complex system where various measurements are taken when the sample sample of the air which is drawn. That means the air, its density will vary if there is a fire, because the temperature of the air will change. So density will also change. How the rate of rise of temperature is? In a fire, rate of rise of temperature will be rapid. Alright. And the pressure changes will also take place. So all this measurement will be taken and alarm will be given off. These are not so common on ships, but it's possible and can always be used. Principle of operation of the detectors can also be based on various ways of measurement. Continuing, like we discussed earlier, infrared. When infrared light strikes a sensor, there will be some kind of value. If that infrared light which is being projected gets interfered by some, let's say, presence of flame, the value will change of the infrared which is falling on the sensor. So alarm can be given off. Visible light band. Visible flame can be seen. Infrared you cannot see with the naked eyes. But visible light band detects presence of flame. Fusible plug. A plug or certain density or some metal or some kind can be fitted which will fuse at certain temperature. Normally this fusible plug is used for pressurized sprinkler system to function automatically. The lines are pressurized. When this fusible plug temperature goes up, the plug will melt and the pressurized sprinkler will work. Nowadays we don't want to use a simple sprinkler system, but we use hypermist. Hypermist is very high water droplet at very high pressure are released. Alright, and the water droplets are so small that in a normal drop of water which you see on your, let's say, when the drops are falling from a normal tap, this hypermist will be at least 400 times. That means hypermist is 400 times part of this vaporization in one drop of water which you see coming out from the tap. So there is large amount of surface volume of the vapor which will be hypermist, which will be released. And this is so vast, the moment it comes out, it vaporizes if there is a heat present, if there is a fire present. Because it vaporizes, it turns into steam. And also take the heat away. So that's why cools also. Also smoothers. So very quick way of fighting fire, especially in the machinery spaces, where electrical fires also it can be fought, because electrical equipment will not get disturbed by this, because water will turn into vapor. Bimetallic strip, two metals are different kind, because the way the both metals will elongate based on the temperature will be different. One will become longer or increase in height longer, faster, other will be increasing in height slower. So metallic strip will bend. When it bends, it will touch some sensor or make a contact. The alarm can be given off. It also detects heat only because of heat this bimetallic strip will bend. Alright. Any questions so far? You can write, you can post it, I will answer. Whichever channel you're watching in your TV, your laptop or your cell phone, mobile phone, post your comment. Alright, I will answer whenever I get time. All the detectors are connected to a fire panel and gives off alarm automatically. And they are addressable also. I will explain what is addressable. Fire detectors will only work when they are powered up by electricity, of course. Some electricity has to be provided to them. So two sources of power must be available. to the fire detectors. One of this must be emergency power supply, UPS, or backup power, or emergency power, whatever. So addressable alarms are when the alarms is given off, the panel will tell you which place on the ship fire has occurred. That means address of the location. Address of the location is known to the ship's crew. Okay. Fire patrol or fire rounds. This we know fire detectors will detect the fire and gives off alarm. But the best is this alarm will only come when a fire has occurred. But the ideal situation on board a ship is the conditions, if they are developing, which will cause the fire to occur. If they are found out before, that means fire will not occur. Because we can always deal with that. If the conditions are favorable, we can make sure that favorable conditions are taken care of. That is why it is advisable, it's required actually by many company safety management system that fire patrol or fire rounds are taken. Again, what is the purpose of these? Many times people say that since fire detectors are already fitted, why take fire patrol or fire rounds? We take fire patrol or fire round because once the alarm comes, that means fire has already occurred. We take fire patrol or fire rounds because we want to make sure the conditions, if they are developing, which will give rise to fire, are taken care of before the fire takes place. That's why fire patrol. Understood? It's clear? During the time of the night, especially between 2200 hours to 0600 hours, except the watchkeepers, everyone else is fast asleep on the ship. On your ship, even the engineers are not there. No watchkeeper in the machinery spaces. The only person awake are duty officer on the bridge and his teammate, able-bodied seafarers. Correct? No? So who will take the fire round? Different companies have different ways of addressing it. It is suggested every 2 hours a fire patrol fire round must be taken. So once again, fire must be detected as early as possible. That is the reason of fire round before the fire takes place. Though the various areas of accommodation and machinery spaces have automatic fire detection installed, visible round taken by the human being is encouraged. The reason I just told you. Because the condition must be taken care of. If favorable condition developing because of which fire can develop, if we come to know about it before the fire occurs, we are in a better situation. Remember, fire doubles every couple of seconds. That means 20 to 30 seconds. Fire is very devastating. So many companies have a procedure in their safety management system require that a fire round or fire patrol is taken every 2 hours between 2200 to 0600 hours in accommodation and machinery spaces. How do we do it? Because watchkeeper have 4 hours watches. So that can be discussed, divided. It's a topic for different course. If you have a question, you can write in the post. I will answer that. How to take round every 2 hours when there are only two people available, and they're working 4 hours. So how to take a fire round in between their watches? If you have a question, post it. I will answer. On passenger ships, it is mandatory that a fire round is taken periodically. Some of the checks to be carried out by the crew when on fire patrol duty include checking that some electrical gadgets like water kettles, music system, TV are not left on in the common smoke room or in the pantry inadvertently, or multiple plugs put in a single socket. We use multi-plug. Ashore also we use at home. One plug and there is a multi-sockets. It's very common thing ashore. Ideally, it should not be used. If you are using it, the powers must be very, very small of all the appliances which you have fitted. But on ship, even if it is small, this should not be used. All such electrical equipment must be powered down. Powered down means make sure multiple socket plug, if it's fitted in a socket, it's removed. Again, I suggest do not use multi plugs on board the ships. Not at all. Remember, on the ship, we're using power supply face to face. Ashore, we use what we use? Phase and the neutral. Correct? There is no neutral on the ship. It got its own implication. So it will be sufficient to suggest that multi-plug must not be used on board the ship because we are using face to face. This also, if you got a question, I can explain because it's technical in nature. Not everybody will understand and not everybody is required to know. You are required to know only this, that do not use multiple plug in any socket on board the ship. Burning stubs of cigarette or cigarette smoking in the prohibited area is not being done. This need to be checked. Cigarette will, if somebody smoke, you will always get a smell. Of course, if with the time enough time has elapsed, you may not be able to. It may not be able to. Smell may not be there. Machinery spaces, visual inspection for the good housekeeping practices. Because let's say some leakages occur, or some hot oil is spinging, some oil is let's say falling on some hot surface. It's not that the first drop falls, it will catch fire, but eventually it will catch fire. So if you happen to find it that some condition are developing for the which may cause the fire, this can be taken care of. Inadvertent release or leakage of flammable material like oil, I was just explaining. Checking any obstruction to the fire exit route and removing it. This has to be clear at all time because we don't know when we may need the exit route or escape routes. Visual inspection of any fire detectors being physically obstructed from detection for some whatever reason. Let's say hot well or casket tank is steaming. The fire detector fitted on top of it has been covered by somebody, which is very, very wrong practice. So every time you go there, you take a round, it must be removed if it is there, and do not use it. Classification of fire. Fires are classified according to the flammable material, that is type of the fuel feeding the fire, and presence of electricity. There are different rules, actually standards in different countries. There are UK, USA, EU and other national standards of classifying a fire. Example of classification of fire is Class A fire, Class B fire, Class C, Class D, Class E, Class F. Class A, classification of fires. Combustible solids such as wood, paper, plastic. Class B, flammable liquid such as petrol or kerosene or other flammable liquid. Flammable gases such as LPG or natural gas, methane. Combustible materials such as metals such as magnesium. Switchboard fires, electrical fires, navigation equipment, computers, short circuits, and electrical gadgets, which I was saying multiple plug. They may also cause fire because they may get overheated. Fat fire in the galley or old grease kept in the storage area for disposal. These are different classification of fire. On ships, we generally classify under fire under class A, class B and C only. Yes, you probably you have heard about it. Many people are saying this is common A, B, C, D, E, F, whatever. But if you see what type of material is available on the ship, you can say class A and class B and C is sufficient. because we have to know which fire extinguisher to use in which type of fire, which class of fire. So again I repeat, for our purpose it is sufficient to classify fires under class three classes only, class A, B and C. Though you may find fire extinguisher with label stating that suitable to fight class A, class B, class C and class D, class E fires. Sometimes it is written on the fire extinguisher. But don't worry, don't bother. More fire extinguisher will be written suitable for class A fire or class B fire. Or if you written class A, class B, class C and class D and class E, that means it is suitable for all types of fire. For example, CO2 fire extinguisher. You could use it in any type of fire. So A and B are as mentioned in the previous slide, and C is electrical fires. So in this case, C can be called electrical fire, also includes electrical fire also. A and B are what was told in the earlier slide, and C, electrical fire, also included in class C. This is the end of module 3, chapter 1, fire detectors. I hope you find the lecture series interesting and encourage you to learn and look forward to more of the videos. You can see the previous video if you have not seen. Subscribe to the channel so that you can find all the videos which have been posted. Now shortly I will prepare module 3, on board firefighting, chapter 2, mustering to fight the fire. Where to go and what to do once it is known that fire has occurred. If you like the presentation and like to make a voluntary contribution, you are welcome. Details are given here below here. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Watch more videos whenever you find time.